Yesterday I packed a bag and left. No more lies, no more hiding from it, no more personal hurt. I stayed for too long, gave too many chances. Now I am here. Backstory. My wife of 11 years, 2 kids together, cheated on me 2 years ago. Well, technically it started before that, but I caught her 2 years ago. Our marriage was rocky by year 5. We had started growing apart. Annoyances became resentment. Resentment became anger, and we began fighting over the smallest things. It felt like we were business partners or roommates. By that time we had 1 kid and another one the way. So we tried to work things out. It didn't get better. We didn't communicate. I was busy with my career, and because she had a more flexible job, I assumed she would take care of the kids and house and her job while I focused on my career. Looking back now, that was a huge mistake. I let things fall apart. I took our relationship for granted. I took her taking care of the house and kids for granted. It doesn't excuse what she would end up doing, but I think it's healthy to be able to look back on it and learn from it for future relationships. I should have communicated. I should have helped more. Too late now. A few years later she began to change. Little things. On her phone more, started to drink a bit more, changed her grooming habits, started staying awake later. Started to get snappy at me when I asked her what she was doing. She put a password on her phone. I confronted her about my suspicions and she unloaded on me, screaming that she wasn't doing anything, and how dare I accuse her. And I must be projecting, so maybe I was the one cheating, and just on and on and on. I backed down. I bought her flowers to apologize. I became extremely introspective and realized I had been a shitty husband and partner and started to help more with the kids. The house. Turned down business meetings out of town. I tried to be present. But the reasons I suspected something was wrong in the first place didn't go away. I talked to my friends about it. I asked them their advice. They all thought she was doing something, but like good friends, they are just looking out for me, I thought. So one night I was talking to a good friend and I told him that my wife was asleep upstairs, and I would check once and for all. I took her phone and unlocked it with her thumb as she slept. My heart was racing, but there was nothing there. A few short deleted texts, some odd half messages. Scrolling down farther I get to a message from a guy named M. Looks innocent, but then I see it. Oops, sorry, didn't use the secret app. What app could he be talking about? So I started to search through her phone. It was hidden behind folders, but I found her WhatsApp. I opened it, clicked on the first message, and was greeted by a picture of my naked wife, followed by another, and a dick pic from this guy, and a video, and more and more. I didn't know him. I was shocked. I saw there with my heart on the floor. I cannot express how I felt in that moment, totally destroyed. I started reading. He lived in Vegas. She visited him with her 2 best friends a few months ago. They hooked up. He was a total perv, asking her to do threesomes, and sending her shit to wear, trying to get her friends involved, etc. The way she spoke back to him wasn't even my wife. She doesn't talk like that. She only likes missionary, lol. She doesn't ever want to talk about sexual things. Who was this person? The conversation went back 3 years. On my 10-year anniversary I took my wife out of town and planned a romantic night. Turns out when she went to the bathroom to change into something more comfortable she sent pictures to him first. And they congratulated each other on her making it to the 10-year mark. If you live in California, you understand why. I was sitting in our hotel bed waiting for her like an idiot. Sigh. Anyways, I lost it. I woke her up, tears running down my face, asking her why. I punched a hole through a double-layered wall, plus the glass picture hanging on it. Blood streaming down my hand. I was a mess. We fought all night. We talked. We fought. We talked. She said it just happened. He was an old friend who was kind to her. Nice, and she wasn't getting that from me. Bullshit. The next day we did a lot of talking. I asked her what she wanted to do. We had 2 kids, a house, careers, surrounded by good friends and neighbors that loved us. How could I just throw it all away? She begged me to stay. She told me she would change. I thought long and hard about it, consulted with friends and select family. For all the reason above, I decided to stay. That our marriage wasn't perfect. That I had been in situations as well where I was tempted, and while I never did anything when it came to that moment, I could see how she could mess up. I gave her a second chance. I told her that I needed her to block him from all media, to delete WhatsApp, to unlock her phone so I could check it every now and then, just so I can regain trust. That she remained present in our marriage, in our love life. She agreed to everything. She said she felt like she was living a double life, and it was a weight off her shoulders. And it was good. And for once in a long time, we were good. The next 3 months were awesome. Hanging out, sex life skyrocketed. We cared for each other again. Then I went out of town on my annual trip with my closest guy friends. I was gone for 5 days, and things seemed fine at first. She was flirty, sent me some sexy pics while I was away. Told me she missed me all the time. Then she accidentally posted a nude that she told me she deleted after she sent to me to her Instagram story. Oops. Apparently only 2 or 3 people saw it, and she pulled it down right away. I saw it. I asked her why she did that, Who was she trying to send it to? How could a pic like that you said you deleted now end up on Insta? I began to become suspicious again. The moment I got home I went to look in her phone. Nothing. Clean. Then it hit me, she had a work phone as well. I opened it, and there it was. First message was to Claire. Hey baby, it's Claire, or Charlotte, or I forget who I'm supposed to be, lol. Hope you had a great day and got home safe. To which my wife just replied with a heart. Claire, as it turns out, was actually a father who volunteered at my kids' elementary school with my wife. I wasn't done looking. I searched more. I got her other phone again and looked through her Snapchat. She had a message received from a guy named P. I asked her about this. By this point we were yelling. That was the only message I saw on Snapchat from him was yes baby. Looks so good. Everything else was deleted. She said he was a personal trainer who she was sending progress photos to. Nothing more, she swore. Then I swiped up, which I guess opened saved Snapchat conversations, and it was a hell of a lot more than a personal trainer. She went ballistic on me, grabbed her phone, and slammed the door to the bedroom, telling me I was crazy. And my constant invasion of her privacy was driving her farther away from me. I was a controlling, mentally abusive asshole according to her. Over the next few days it didn't stop. The discoveries, more conversations from different guys, all inappropriate, all sexual, all flirtatious. A, C, P, J, G, M, Ab, P, the list went on. She told me it was all from before our big fight, that she wasn't doing it anymore, that it was a fantasy escape, that she never did anything physical with any of these guys. She asked me to try again, that I needed to trust her, and that she was telling the truth. Again I thought long and hard about it, and this time, I stayed. Again, I gave her another chance. I told myself that I was doing it for the kids. What I told a friend was I would rather live in hell the next 10 years until my kids are out the house than miss even a single day in their lives. My kids need their dad. Again things were good. Not great, but good. We were back in a groove. Everything was better. We were getting along, not fighting. The kids loved it as well as we were all spending more time together. Then things started to revert back to the old ways. Little by little, she started again to spend more time on her phone. Before we set a no phones after 6 p.m. rule for the house. And little by little that was broken by both of us. She started to become distant again. She started to tell little white lies, and then bigger lies. I can tell when my wife is lying. I always have been able to. Drives her crazy. So I knew she was lying. I would ask her about it. She would blow up at me, freak out and yell that I'm crazy and to back off. And she isn't doing anything. I was no longer affected by her yelling. My intuition was telling me something was off again. I went crazy. I started looking through phone usage records. I would place items and draws open certain amounts to see what she was using and where she was going. I did a people lookup search of just about every number sending texts to her phone. I wasn't going to be tricked and manipulated again. I was all over her. All over it. I wasn't getting played again. But I was, and I did. It finally came to an end when I used her thumb to again unlock her phone, and again I found her WhatsApp hidden away. And again I saw messages. This time to a guy named S, who is actually a work client of mine. Those messages contained some of the graphic, leave nothing to the imagination images that would make porn stars blush. Then there was the messages again to see nothing overly graphic. A titty picture here or there. But not much else, but mainly just messages of you deserve better than him, and run away with me, and let's never come back, and I want to go camping and lay out under the stars with you. And last but not least, I think I love you. That all happened in January. Why am I so weak? Why hadn't I left yet? Why did I give her yet another chance? I felt bad for her. I felt like she had an addiction. I felt like I could help her, and if I could, maybe she could go back to giving that attention she gives to other guys. To me, I told myself it was for the kids. I told myself it was for financial security. She swore to me that it was just fantasy. That nothing was real. It was her escape, where she can be loved and not always under my control. My rules, my interrogations. I said, but I wouldn't have to interrogate you if you didn't start doing it again. I wouldn't have to search through phone records if I wasn't being overtly lied to. And I was right. It was happening. The date on the conversations proved that she started it back up before I started digging into it again. I was right. For what it was worth, I was right. She told me that the more I tried to tighten my grip, the more I tried to control her, the more she was going to move farther from our marriage. She showed no remorse, just resentment. We fought a lot. The kids started to cover their ears and run into another room every time we ever started to raise our voices. Why couldn't I leave? Why was I still there? I couldn't figure it out. I still can't figure it out. Again she claims she is finally done with the cheating. It's out of her system. She won't do it again. She deleted WhatsApp again for the 10th time. She still wouldn't show me her phone cause she said it was an invasion of privacy. And to an extent she is right. But she also wouldn't give me proof that anything had changed. Enter coronavirus and the stay-at-home order. It was hard. We were all stuck here in this house. She had nowhere to go. I got crazier and crazier cause I could tell she started lying to me again. I downloaded WhatsApp on my phone and sent her messages, waiting to see if they were ever delivered. Then I left the house to go pick up some food, and when I got back, I saw the messages were delivered. She downloaded the app again while I was out of the house. I called her out. She told me I was crazy. The next day she deleted her account on the app. Her profile was gone. My guess was that she blocked me. She said she didn't. We yelled again. She told me to back off. I asked to see her phone. She refused. By this point I am no longer the fun-loving, carefree, spontaneous, generous, loving guy I once was. I'm cynical, I'm untrusting, I'm conniving, I'm intrusive, I'm a shitty person, I'm broken. I feel like shit. Was she right? Did she really just delete it? Fast forward a month, and I just installed a new wireless router in the house. One that tracks what all the devices are doing, and what apps are being used. And there it was, the fucking WhatsApp. 2 hours and 10 minutes used yesterday. She really did block me from it. She blocked her husband from the app so I wouldn't see when she was online. I was done. I had enough. I went upstairs, packed a suitcase, and left my house. I called my friend who is a lawyer and told him everything. He is helping me put the paperwork together. I sat in my car yesterday for 4 hours, sitting in a parking lot, crying, angry, depressed, sad, but also relieved and proud of myself. I then got the courage up to check into a hotel. My wife was texting my phone asking me where I was, but I didn't answer. I turned my laptop on, played some video games, and then went to sleep. I'm done. I can't go back. She can't stop. I've turned into a different person, so has she. Today I came back home, but moved out of my bedroom and into my guest room. I can't afford to live in an apartment right now. Oh, my wife lost her job to COVID. Divorce is a long process, and I figured I didn't want to make it look like I was abandoning my family. I told my wife that we needed to figure out child custody schedule first, that we would start integrating it at home while we work on selling the house, and putting the divorce paperwork in order. That on my days I would be responsible for the kids, and she on her days. Even though we are living in the same house, it might not be perfect, but it's a start. Today I still had moments of weakness, moments of panic, moments where I wanted to run back to her and say, "Fine, let's just have an open marriage." But that never works. I'm way too crazy now to ever allow that. No, I need to keep going. 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other. Update, how it went from there. After learning she was a serial cheater, we cohabitated for 6 months. I slept downstairs, she was upstairs. We didn't know what we wanted to do. There was a lot of confusion. There were times we went back to each other, and times we hated each other's guts and yelled and screamed. It was always the worst when she was drinking. Those were the nights I could be certain she was texting other men still. However, I didn't get the courage to finalize my divorce. We talked to a mediation lawyer. I had paperwork drawn up, but I couldn't bring myself to sign it. I was so afraid of divorce, about what it meant to me, to my finances, kids' happiness, assets included our house, etc. I was terrified. I told myself over and over that I would rather live in this hell until my kids left the house than blow apart our family because of a decision my so was making over and over, until I couldn't. One day, she was drinking with her friends and came home fairly tipsy. I won't go into the details of the story, but I caught her again. She was texting her personal trainer, one of the guys I knew she had cheated on me with before. She told me she wasn't, and I caught her. She then blew up at me, called me spineless, said that I would never file for divorce because I would never be able to fuck a girl hotter than her again in my life. All types of other nasty things. And then it hit me. I was so calm. I had reached a point I couldn't come back from. I walked into my office, pulled up the divorce contract, docu-signed it, and calmly hit send. I walked back into the kitchen where my ex was standing and told her I just filed for divorce. I then went back into my office and felt relief. Earlier that month I was talking to a coworker about my situation. He had just filed for divorce himself and went through a bit of a nasty battle over child custody, for which he ended up getting 100%. His analogy for my situation really hit home for me and helped. I will say it here in case it helps someone else in the same situation. The way I felt before I filed for divorce, knowing she was cheating, knowing what I should, but not finding the strength to actually do it, was like standing on a ladder. I'm on a ladder, and the ground is covered in fog. I can't see the ground. I know I'm on the bottom step. I know the ground is right under me, but I can't see it, and it's too scary to just step off. Until I did, and the ground was right where it was supposed to be, and it was easy and effortless, and now I am safely off the ladder and able to move in any direction I want. I described the feeling in the weeks after as immediate relief. For years I felt like I was up against a cliff, with my toes hanging over the edge, and the weight of everything pushing and pushing me to jump. But I couldn't, I wouldn't, until finally the weight of everything was too much, and I took a step. And it turns out, free falling feels a hell of a lot better. and the landing was soft and comfortable. Skip to now. I know my situation here will be different than most. I got out really well. I kept the house, she moved out. I owe her half the equity for which I am making payment to her for the next 5 years. And if in 5 years I can't afford to pay her portion off, I will sell the house and pay her. It's a lot of money. $million plus house. We split custody 50/50. She waived her right to alimony. I also make significantly more than her. I am paying a bit more in child support than I owe according to the state of California calculator. I am also paying for things like sports, camps, etc. We are finalizing the rest of the divorce through a mediator. And things have been amicable so far, fingers crossed. As for everything else, I tried online dating and found instant success. It was nice to talk to people again who actually care, to date, and then go out again. Everything was different. Everything was better. I got a huge shot of confidence that had been completely shattered in years prior. It feels really good. My finances have stabilized. My relationship with my kids is better. Quality of quantity. Also, she was wrong. Now, I still have bad moments. I still have moments where I'm confused, hurt, scared, but they are getting few and farther between. I'm on a much better path, and feel optimistic for the first time in a long time. To the person still reading this, that might have been in my shoes, you deserve better. The ground isn't far, step off the ladder.